water. Get rich and never go broke, that's 100. Get rich and never go broke, that's 100.
Bought a street sweeper to clean up the street. Cool like a cruise, your new shoes on the feet. Boy, at your tone when you talking to me. Out of Daytona like Miami Heat. Made me an M for the end of the week. Close to me, you add up the fleet. I make a kill and I rap on the beat. My car repeated, massaging the seats. All of the hating that made me a beast. We with the ladies, no top on the V. News who told me back it costs a cool quarter. Get rich and don't go broke, and that is an order. Might need me a speedball, I got all this water. Might take me a freak or I go cross the border. She came with a D throwing well on the swallow. My niggas is lethal and we all immortal. Might go back to Polo and ride all these horses. I spent 50,000 on all white Air Forces. I made like 5 million, that's just on endorsement. No way, I'ma start this recording. On highly sedated and floating like Jordan. These checks that it clear, ain't no way to avoid it. My jeans about fit, but this drip worth a fortune. No nigga I fear, I ain't go for extortion. Hop on the lead at the clip, what I bought it. Blood, sweat, and tears, I work at my hardest. Diamond shaped pairs, my necklace retarded. Catch too many stairs, you become a target. I'm stoned out they care, don't wanna be hard. Big step no stairs and leak like a faucet. At least a whole M inside of my closet. We ballin' up gym, they must thought I lost it. Bought a street sweeper to clean up the street. Cool like a cruise, your new shoes on the feet. Boy, at your tone when you talking to me. Out of Daytona like Miami Heat. Made me an M for the end of the week. Close to me, you add up the fleet. I make a kill and I rap on the beat. My car repeated, massaging the seats. All of the hating that made me a beast. We with the ladies, no top on the beat. News who told me back it costs a cool quarter. Get rich and don't go broke, and that is an order. Might need me a speedball, I got all this water. Might take me a freak or I go cross the border. She came with a D throwing well on the swallow. My niggas is lethal and we all immortal.
Some more drugs, none of them more, none of them stuck. Ain't no more love.
Oh my God. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, I was struggling to find a song. Dog, that's why I went silent for a little bit, because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to play. Like, I wanted to play something different that I haven't really played here yet, but I'm just like, I'm sitting here struggling, because like, I got songs I know I like. I just don't know about y'all. That's the thing. That's the problem. I don't know what to play. God, at one point, I was going to play Massaging Me. I'm like, I ain't going to lie, that song tough. But God damn, I was going to play March Madness. I don't know how y'all feel about Future, though. I wanted to play Under the Sun, but J. Cole moving weird. God damn. I was struggling trying to figure out what to play. At one point, I was going to play Rambo, but I don't know. I wasn't feeling any classics. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't in a classic mood. I done listened to enough classics. I need something current. And trust and believe me, I know what I would have played, but I don't know about y'all. I don't know about y'all, because me personally, I wanted to play a little Lil Uzi. I wanted to play some Lil Uzi if I was going to be real. Like, I'm a fan of old Uzi, because that's back when it made sense. Whatever they did to him in whatever they did to him for Eternal Take 2, yeah, no, that's the industry right there. The industry stepped in and said, no, you're gonna make it our way. On some Debo-ish. Now look what happened to the album. It's trash. Disappointing. It still aggravates me to this day, because Eternal Take 1 with the deluxe was amazing. Damn near perfect based on Uzi standards. Oh, I know J-Tom dropped the video, but I got about 6 videos to watch today. If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm not at work. I got time. I don't want to take up everybody's time, but like 20 minutes of the classic, I don't disagree. But I'm strictly Eternal Take when it comes to Uzi. The deluxe and the original, because that was perfection for me. That's how I saw Uzi at his best. You know? And God, shut your mouth, Nick. But yeah, no, Eternal Take, the deluxe and the original, that's perfect. That's perfect Uzi. I'm not into heavy melodies like that, but when he was rapping, he was doing what he needed to do. Now, I know a lot of people that love lyricists and lyrics like that. They're like, oh, he's not saying nothing. I know. Maybe it's not for you. Damn. I just want to listen to something good. That just sounds good. That's it. You know, like sometimes I want to just like relax. You know what I'm saying? I just want to breathe. I can't be thinking all the time like, with the Pythagorean theorem, if we do y equals mx plus b and a squared plus b squared equals c squared, with the sum value that we get. No, I don't want to do that all the time. Damn. That stresses me out. I need to breathe. Like, yo, I remember one time, I don't even think I was streaming that day. But I remember I walked by my mom. She's like, why you look so tired? I'm like, if you would understand what I'm doing on YouTube. Oh, my Jesus. This is stress. But here I am today. Happy Monday. Yes, it's dark outside because, you know, Canada. Anyway, how's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling? Welcome back to the Flex Mind Network. You tapped in with your favorite Canadian reaction channel that was struggling to find some music today. It's cool. It happens. You know? Y equals M. Boy, understood what I just said, okay? Have you gotten a chance to listen to the Nems EP yet? I want to know you fuck with it. I fuck with Nems, period. I told you I mess with a lot of UK shit. I only listen to half of it though. If I'm gonna be real with you, I gotta finish the other half. I have a lot of shit I have to listen to. That's a problem. Where do I begin? So, okay, the theme for this live today, because we have so many videos to watch, I wanted to make sure everything stays on theme. The theme for today is dumb versus dumber. Or sorry, yeah, no, honestly, yeah, dumb versus dumber. I could say the dumb versus the intelligent, but I feel like we already passed that mark when it comes to intelligence. But honestly, it's dumb versus dumber, bro. It's dumb versus dumber, if I'm going to keep it real. Because it's getting to a point now where, with what I'm seeing with a lot of artists out there and how they're moving, how they're getting things done, it's kind of shameful. It's kind of shameful, even though half the time it's not even their fault, but look who's running them, right? So if you have people at the top that only care about numbers and values but have no idea how to put music and projects together, and then they're passing off information to the artist being like, oh, you got to do this. Now the artist is trying to figure it out. They don't even know what to do half the time. Now you got the dumb leading the dumb. So at that point, it's just dumb versus dumber. Who's dumber? Just saying. So, with that being said, what's good, everybody? I see y'all. What's good, Connor? What's good, Noah? What's good, Tiny? I think you're in the chat. I see you. I wanted to start off with a Vince Staples interview, but we're going to see it through the eyes and perspective of Curtis King because duh. Okay. Like I said, I got a good amount of videos to watch today, so I put together something nice. So if you tapped in with me for real, sit back and enjoy yourself because we got some things to talk about. So I want to go ahead and get started because y'all know me. I'm finna chat. Is Raven in here too, right? What's good, Raven? I think your name was first in the chat. Got bad news today. If I turn all prickly, that's why. Friendly warning. Got you, Tiny. It's cold. Yo, listen, Mr. DND. Never heard it yet. Never heard it yet. All right. Let me go ahead and get started, man. My brain is everywhere right now, so just forgive me if I'm not answering the questions properly. Monday is hitting right now, if I'm going to be super real with y'all. I ain't got no water to drink. No, actually, no, let me take that back. Do I got some water? I got some water, but it's in the kettle. It's cool, though. It's going to be a little warm, but, you know, it's whatever. All right. Oh, you shadow mobbing. Say less. Look, enough talking here, but the baby duty, so I'm going to be back and forth. Hey, you in the shadow mob, LTFM, bro. What's good, bro? Anyway, let's go ahead and get started, man, because we got a lot to talk about, a lot of videos to get through, and I'm not trying to be on here for like 4 or 5 hours, all right? Just want to say that now. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, we got Curtis King in front of us. We're going to be tapping in with one of the most intelligent individuals in hip-hop, period. So, let's get started, bro. Y'all do know how to start this, right? So, let's go ahead and make it happen. Let go. Yo, you, right here in the small box, right here in the small box. Welcome back to Flex Mob Reactions, only on the Flex Mob Network. I'm Flex. Welcome back to the channel. Vince Staples drops a hip-hop perspective nobody saw coming. What can I say? Vince Staples is smart as hell. He might sound dumb. He might act dumb. But he's simply playing a role to make the consumer, the audience, and the industry feel better. I'm just saying. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Listen, y'all know how we do this, right? Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the video. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the reaction. Let me know what you think about his perspective on hip-hop and what he's going to be talking about in this video, because I believe it's going to be very interesting. Y'all know the spiel already. Look, I'm done here. Hype the video up. Y'all already know. Let's get started.
Curtis K.I. Wire.
DIYers, I saw this interesting interview here from,
guest.
one of the brightest minds, in my opinion, that exists in hip-hop. A rapper, a lyricist, an actor, now a TV show writer, Vince Staples. And so he was doing a promo run, and he went to go talk to Complex Magazine. The conversation came up about hip-hop not being in the charts. Leave it to Vince to always have a take. It's not different for the sake of being different. It makes so much common sense. And it's a take that he's been very consistent on as we kind of go back to things he said before when it comes to separating art and commerce. Listen to what he had to say. Hey, yo, DIYer, if you're enjoying this content, please don't forget to hit the like button. It helps this video and this channel get discovered by new people. I appreciate you. Now back to the video.
Something that you talk about a lot is kind of just the state of the music industry, particularly for Black and brown artists. And I know that comes up explicitly in the first episode, Country Maine, and he kind of details, you know, the predatory nature of the music business. But what do you think about the recent Billboard news that hip-hop has dropped out of the top 40 for the first time since the 90s?
No, I don't think it means anything. I think people buy things.
Yeah.
And the things that people buy changes. It doesn't dictate, you know, art. Or we got to stop comparing creativity and commerce. They're not the same thing, so.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Like I said, he's been very consistent on this separating creativity and commerce. But he says, I don't think it means a thing. Some people buy things, some people don't buy things. That's not the take, though. Here's the one that really had me, really thinking about just the gratitude I think that we should all have as we think about how our people sometimes do the impossible.
This man literally looks like he writes books for a living, bro. Look at this nigga. Anyway, hey, stop trying to compare the creativity and commerce. It is not the same. All right, stop comparing the art to commerce. As soon as you have art, something creative, something that you put together yourself through your mind and what you mapped out, that's not commerce. The dark reality with being a creative is that you are going to be broke as hell. The music industry is designed to put money in your pocket. That's what it's for. Because they noticed a theme. They noticed a pattern with a lot of artists from back in the day, how they would have their music, but their music doesn't really translate well enough to money. So the music industry today said, yo, why don't we try and push everybody's music to the masses through different applications and programs so that they can go and listen to their favorite. They can go and listen to somebody they like. They can go and find somebody new. You know? So, at that point, with DSPs being brought into the mix and the music industry doing everything revolving around this thing, that was there to help the consumer find the art quicker. And that would translate to money into the artist's pocket. Keep in mind, I didn't say how much. That's the overall fact. Yes, you're getting money in your pocket. Congratulations. You deserve it. How much, though? You might get a signing bonus of $10 million. A lot of people, when they usually get money like that, what's the first thing they go do? They buy a house, a couple cars, and they splurge on clothes, drinks, a booth, and men or women, depending on the gender. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, because that could get messy. So yeah, you got this much money as a signing bonus, not realizing that you still gotta owe that back. Anyway, throughout your career, you might get paid depending on how well your art does, but the underlying fact is that you're not getting that much. The industry's taking your money. They're taking all of your funds. And now you're looking at the DSPs like, bro, this is all I'm getting? I'm supposed to be getting more than this, no? Nah. It's working as intended. This your paycheck. Go splurge.
On a regular basis in these spaces that are not really designed for us. But listen, hear him out.
Well, with the 17% black population in the United States of America, I don't ever expect us to be at the top of the Billboard charts if we're truly making music from a pure place for ourselves. So anything other than that is, a plus. And you appreciate it, but that doesn't mean that it's not translating within our community.
Wait a minute. One more time, Vince. One more time.
We're truly making music from a pure place of America. I don't ever.
He talks about us as black folks being only 17%. For last I knew, it was 13%. But let's just say it's 17%. Still not the dominant population that exists in the U.S.
What's good,
If he's
Josh?
talking about the U.S. numbers, 17%. Like I said, I believe it's 13. Just think about that for a second, especially when you're thinking about buying audiences. Especially think about that when you're talking about cultural impacts of albums and music that is touching us to a certain place, touching minorities, and also just folks who happen to be a part of this hip-hop culture, whether as guests or whether it's just people
What's
who
up,
appreciate
Sarah? How
the
you
arts
doing?
in general. Just think about that stat for a minute. 17%, leaving you 83% where other people can make decisions about what music rises to the top of the charts. And even beyond that logic, let's talk about who these record businesses are ran by and who they look like the higher up you go. And if they're playing with the numbers the same way the WWE does at times, then it really makes it seem like a very interesting number, to put into its proper perspective, no matter who one of your favorite artists happen to be at the top of them.
But with the 17% black population in the United States of America, I don't ever expect us to be at the top of the Billboard charts if we're truly making music from a pure place for ourselves. So anything other than that is, a plus. And you appreciate it, but that doesn't mean that it's not translating within our community.
This man looks like he about to write the next Bible. Do you hear what he's saying? I'm glad you're doing great, Sarah. Do you hear what he's saying, though? And honestly, that point goes back to one of my own points that I like to make when it comes to majors and minors, maximum and minimum. So when you have a majority and a minority, right? You got to consider this as a fact. The majority of people in America are, well, you understand what I'm saying? But the fact that that majority doesn't command the industry, the entertainment space, just goes to show you how the minority can really maximize on their greatness by just simply through expression. That's an example of what I used to talk about when it comes to the minority being maximized. When I talk about different artists and the minority audience that they make music for, how they maximize through them is different ways of selling to them. It's the same thing when I talk about when you have a Taylor Swift and she's selling to the majority and she's maximizing on selling to the majority with the different ways that she sells to her audience. It's similar when I look at this now when I talk about how the minority audience in America has captured entertainment by maximizing on their greatness. The thing is that even though we command entertainment, we do not lead and we do not protect entertainment. It's other people that protect entertainment. That's an issue for another day. But the point is that even though that we are still maximizing on greatness, we still can't obtain this thing that we do so well. So we have to do it for other people. That's so crazy. What's good, Hugo?
Because it's not that many of us here.
And why is it important for you to speak about the predatory nature of the music business?
To be honest, I don't really even like talking about it. I think that it's just the truth.
Okay.
And whenever music comes up, like that's a part of music. I just don't kind of ignore the ugly sides of things, even myself. Like I try to pay attention to every part of the equation and kind of get better at all these things. But music has always been music, and I think that you can appreciate something and get a lot from something while knowing, its flaws. And I think that's just one of the things. But I'm not really an outspoken person. I don't feel like I just speak on an issue.
Yeah, I'm laughing with her. It may just be in his mind. He not being outspoken. He just telling the truth. But no matter what he does, there's a compilation. We probably got to watch it another time. There's a compilation of the wildest stuff he said in interviews. If he ain't doing it on purpose, then he just lives in a naturally controversial space that just so happens to be called his truth. I don't want to deter from this original point, because there's another thing that we're going to get into that talks about expanding upon this idea of art versus commerce. But he talks about why he feels like battles and beefs are corny. I don't want to leave this clip before we get to that one, but don't let the main thing be lost. Hear it out.
I don't say anything unless somebody asks me.
Okay.
So, whenever I'm asked a question, I'll tell the truth. But you ain't never seen me jump out and just start talking about something.
Yeah, I guess you're just very chat, like on the Joe Budden podcast.
They call me.
but you definitely say how you feel.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie about nothing, but yeah, they call me. But as far as just saying it on my own, that never happened.
Isn't that funny? A rapper who decides not to lie and say the political thing is the controversial figure in 2025.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
There's many of us that grew up on the most controversial. Like I was watching a Biggie interview and he was saying something. I was like, Biggie wasn't even known as a controversial figure in his interviews. He said some wild shit in them lyrics, which I would not repeat on.
I ain't gonna lie, that boy said some flagrant shit in his lyrics. Anyway.
This channel, he's a wild boy. He was a wild man. He said some shit in the interview. I was like, whoa, okay. Ice Cube's another one of those. Tupac, of course, is another one of those. A lot of artists where that was the norm. I'm just telling how it is from where I'm from. But everything got so politically correct because it feels like a lot of these rappers followed the Jordan model that you saw in the Last Dance documentary. He was like, Republicans buy Nikes too. They buy tennis shoes too. I ain't trying to really piss nobody off. I'm gonna just wear this hoop earring and just win a lot of basketball games. Is that okay? He ain't even talk like that, but I hear him like that in my head. Continue though, Vince.
Okay, got it. And then you also, speaking of the Joe Budden podcast, because they called you to get your opinion on this, and you think rap beefs are corny. You said that before the Drake and Kendrick beef. You basically said that there should be more emphasis on trying to create a better industry than warring back and forth, correct?
Mm-hmm. Y'all got real happy when niggas start rap beefing. No. But then y'all got real sad when niggas lose their publishing and niggas go to jail and niggas die and all the other stuff. It's like, we either with the cooner or we not, bro.
Hey. I've never seen this clip. I've never seen that clip.
Who said that the white audience celebrate mediocrity? I remember a video about it, and there were some really good points there. Girl, then find the video.
He does speak to a slice of hypocrisy that does exist when you think about how excited some people get beyond the competitive nature of battles, which we understand. We're on the same page with this. Beyond the competitive nature of it, there are some people salivating for what kind of dirt can you get on the competitor. That doesn't excite me nearly as the lyrical sparring that happens. But when you have somebody like a Kendrick versus a guy with a team of ghostwriters, there ain't much to debate anymore. Maybe hit songs, that didn't happen from Drake Keisha. There are some people who only come for the gossip. And if there's no gossip, there is no battle. But he said we either with the Conan or not. That's a crazy ass statement. That's what we talking about.
I'm not gonna lie. Ever since the gossip got introduced into rap battles, if I'm gonna be super real, hey, that's when it got interesting. And I feel like that's also the reason why that was the gateway for the kind of gossip that we get on social media today, because what we get is too much. If I'm going to be real, I should not have to know about what you do in the behind closed doors of your room for a lot of the things that be on social media, Twitter, Like, it's just getting a little, we're going too far. We're going too far. Like, nobody's trying to be like, no one's trying to be secretive no more. Everyone's want to be like, look what I did. And even though we really didn't want to see it, we go and look and it's like, you did that? Damn. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's come to. But with that lyrical warfare that we got last year between Drake and Kendrick, and how well one side used that tactic alongside keeping it towards the traditions of hip-hop battles, and then the other side was just Google searching everything that they needed on their opponent as if everything was sourced, everything was cited. Guys, don't forget to cite your sources, huh? Yeah, at that point, then that's kind of like marrying the two sides, where you have the tea with the skill. You have the gossip with the bars, and it worked. If I'm going to be real, it worked. But like, damn. What's good, J Tom? How you feeling?
He don't see that as controversy. He just like, that's how I see it.
Now that the dust is settled on everything, do you still feel the same way?
I'm always feel the same way about black people fighting over nothing.
Okay.
But Drake is a Karen.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I don't know, for some reason I gotta play this.
Lord have mercy. We must stay focused.
But Drake is a Karen that sued. Drake is a Karen that sued. He allegedly had somebody on his own team shooting at his house. Why we never heard no more information about that?
Didn't I ask the same? Hey, did I not ask the same thing? Did I not ask the same thing? Okay. Now one more time for the people in the back.
Dude, Drake is a Karen that sued. He allegedly had somebody on his own team shooting at his house. Why we never heard no more information about that?
Who ran the security company? We already looked into it. Hell, what was it? CBC News looked into it, if I'm correct. One of the Toronto news stations looked into it. It was either CBC, CTV, or Global News. They looked into it. Who owned the security company? Okay.
Ain't nobody go to jail behind this. If you count top 5, he was going there anyways because all the nonsense he be doing, all the chaotic shit he does on camera, that was going to happen. Who would have went to jail after this battle? So maybe he's talking about in general in terms of how some of these can get very, very violent, very much to the edge.
Okay, I'll break it down for everybody because I feel like he's alluding to it, but he's not saying it. So at this point, it's my job to say it. When you have intelligent people battle, you're going to have a great battle. But when you have somebody that don't know how to read try to battle another dude that just don't even know how to enunciate his words, yeah, that's going to bring about violence. See, when you have somebody that's dumb, that wants to fight somebody that's dumber, yo, fun fact, dumb people don't know how to fight. Dumb people don't know how to swing. See, when you see a dumb person fight, they swing with all their might. You know what I'm saying? They're swinging like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Bro, what happened to a little jab here and there? What we doing? What we do? You out here swinging like you trying to hug a nigga. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. See, at that point, that's when we start shooting. Not me. Okay, I do not pick up said weaponry. I do not do that. That is not my time. That is not my place. But when you have grown men or children that haven't had their brain fully developed yet, even though you got dudes in their 40s with an underdeveloped brain. Anyway, my point is, when you got somebody that is that dumb, that don't know how to fight or don't want to swing because they might get bruised, when you pull out that machine, the news companies are going to pull up saying, what's going on here? Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. There was a shooting between 5th and 6th Street. Multiple dead, multiple wounded. I don't know what kind of weapon they brought out, but my God, this looks like, let me not say that. Anyway, y'all understand what I'm saying though, right?
Right, very much people losing their lives in this. That part of it is beyond any competition in hip hop. It is corny. to be losing your life over something that was said about you in a rap song. It gets really corny, and I'm with him on that. I still love the competitive edge, the competitive nature. I think it brings out the best in people at times. But to his point, there is a guy that don't look like either one of them people that's battling. I ain't gonna just say a white guy, but it's a guy that's looking like, go ahead. You guys have at it. Who won the battle between 50 Cent and Kanye West? Universal. I said it.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Whoa.
But everybody love a mudslinging contest, so I'll stay out of it. You know, entertainment is entertainment, so if everybody's entertained, it's all good.
Okay. So
that's the take right there. But like I said, let's not stray away from the original topic of art versus commerce. I've already played one of these clips years ago, but I want to bring it back to the forefront because, like I said, it's so dope to hear an artist like a Vince Staples, an MC like a Vince Staples, stay consistent on his points, no matter how his career continues to skyrocket as an actor, continues to skyrocket in other places. Because I feel like when rappers' careers start taking off, like in movies, they start bad-mouthing the culture, especially if your name Post Malone. Big X plug. Molly Cyrus, Tommy Richmond. I'm sorry, I had a little blackout. Here's what he said here that kind of echoes the statement that he said about art versus commerce. This is in an interview that he had years ago. Peep it out.
If we're talking commerce, we got to separate commerce and art when we talk about music. Okay, and anyway, because you got to think about it, Vincent Van Gogh was nobody until he died. Sure. But art spoke for it. Basquiat died, bro. We talking about sales and commerce. Michael Jackson died in severe debt. If he died with no money, we can never talk about money.
Sure.
That's just how
I love that he brought up Michael Jackson and how he died in a lot of debt because that man's name is raking in to this day about $3.5 billion off of his name, Michael Jackson. Through his death, it's brought about billions of dollars. He will have statues. He will go down in history as literally the king of pop. But none of that would have happened if he's still alive. And keep in mind, he passed, like I said, in debt. But his name brings about billions of dollars. His catalog brings about billions of dollars. Now, ain't that sick and twisted? But that's the harsh reality. Jesus. $3.5 billion. Do you understand what you can do with that kind of money?
personally feel. And if we talk about art, we can separate music, say music, not art, but no, everybody want to call themselves an artist. So if we talk about it as an artist, you don't get in the museum for having a lot of money. As far as sales going in music.
Whoa! When I tell you he's one of the sharpest minds in the game right now, I'm not saying that as an exaggeration or any kind of West Coast bias. He's one of the sharpest minds in this effing game. The people that we revere, the people that we compare today's art to versus the people from before, the ones who have created the foundation of art. Many of those artists have died broke.
Yeah.
That is not an assassination upon their character or their decision making. It is not, to downplay them or devalue them. It's to give you the reality of it. We appreciate their art. We love their art. We revere their art. But if it was about the money, the way that these people try to make these talking points about rappers and artists today, we wouldn't respect them. If we use the same metrics as first week sales, if we use the same metrics as how much money, how much clout this person has versus this, if you died broke, that would be negating people like Van Gogh, negating a Michael Jackson. And that sounds absolutely fucking mad, doesn't it? So maybe those metrics are not the proper ones to gauge someone's art by. Not saying that the greatest of all time need to be broke. They should not be, especially in this era.
Connor, I love your question. Why does everyone become more popular once they die? XXX, Juice, Pop Smoke, Mac Miller, and almost every rapper that came before them. The answer is in your question, and it's, death. one thing you got to understand when it comes to society is that we have been desensitized to the act and word of death. In fact, when we see that word or when we see it in our favorite TV show, it brings about excitement. And because of that excitement, sales go up, viewership goes up. Now, when you translate that to music, it's the same thing now. Your sales go up. Music video count, everything goes up. Because basically what society has done is that they made death interesting by simply just showing what it looks like in many different ways. It's sick, it's nasty, it's twisted, but that's what it is. That's what it brings about. It brings about interest, excitement, wonder. And when you apply that to music, that's why everybody gets so popular. So it's unfortunate, but that's what it is.
Here right now of independence that is thriving, of artist empowerment. It should not happen. But do not be surprised when you get these artists right now that are flexing the money. They throwing it in front of your face on Instagram and TikTok. Don't be surprised in 5 years when they're in tears on TikTok from a podcast where they're exposing all the things that were happening behind the scenes.
Just like Caribou. I don't know if anybody here is familiar with Caribou. She did a song with Ice Spice a while back. What was it? The Boy's a Liar or some shit like that. It was viral on TikTok, I'm not gonna lie. But she broke. Caribou broke as hell. She's so broke, it's gotten to the point where she has two choices. She either has to be a Twitch streamer or start an OnlyFans. And she said she don't want to start no OnlyFans, so she's streaming on Twitch. But, honey boo boo, I just gotta say good luck to you. Because trust and believe me, girl, it ain't gonna work. You gotta find a job. A job. And I'm not talking. No, let me stop.
I saw a video today that said, this gentleman said, when you look at the sky and you see a plane going, you would never know, judging by the way that it flies, that there's turbulence. Inside the plane, the pilot knows, oh shit, something bad is going to happen. But based upon you just looking at it traveling, you would never know that it's turbulence because it doesn't show signs of it quite yet until it gets a little bit too close for comfort. The same thing happens to a lot of these artists that you see. They have been made to look like everything's all right even when it's not all right. They've been designed to show highlights of their careers and what they're doing. They show up only when money is on them. They show up looking expensive, looking like they smell good. Shit ain't that good. They are probably going through worse financial crisis than some of us with 9 to 5. Some of us out here who are independent DIYers. Worse than some of us out here who are check to check because their overhead are even worse because of how much money is going out versus what is coming in. Especially if they're relying upon things like streaming and tours with low ticket sales, especially if they're in some kind of 360 deal, especially if they got people who have to get paid because they took an advance, they took money. You just don't know what they got going on. I know it because I seen it firsthand. So when we talk about that, we got to have a different conversation. If we're talking about art, let's talk about art. If you're talking about listening to music with a calculator, go over there with that. That's it.
We can't have that be in the conversation of you being the best, and that's why that's what people use when they trying to compensate for the lack of how they feel about their art. But say Drake, for instance, Drake the one to sell the most, right? Even if Drake didn't sell in a crazy amount, his influence, how his music touches people, he'd still be Drake. Like look at Chance, he not selling nothing, but he still has influence. So it's a good argument to use, and that's what fans like to say. Fans like to say I'm selling records, but it's a joke. You back on somebody's shoes, you say they dirty and they dusty and they don't got no money.
Yeah, that's how it goes, unfortunately. Here's another clip. Because I'm telling you, if you have not gone down a rabbit hole of Vince Staple quotables and interviews, not only is he hilarious with some of these takes, but he gonna say things in a way that's like, damn it, that makes a lot of sense. Why don't you hear more people saying this? He had a clip here.
Hey, one thing about that, J-Tom, 720 deals are rare, but they exist. They're rare as but they exist. Them deals really do exist out there. They're hard to find. Don't get it twisted, but they real. Them 720 deals, wicked work that is, by the way. Let me just say that first. It's wicked work to see somebody in a 720. Because, boy, the way your money just don't come to you. Like, your money just going to everybody else but you. But my point is that, yeah, that's how it goes. Here's a darker reality for artists that have passed. The reason why Mac Miller's music works so well is because it's stuck to hip-hop. If you look at Pop Smoke, for example, there's a flaw with Pop Smoke's music. A lot of it is drill. I don't know about you guys, but drill has not been popping high like it used to. If I'm going to be super real. Now, I know he has hit records that are not drill. Thank God. But it's only about like 3 songs, maybe 4 songs, and it's not enough. It's not enough. So he passed, still on his come up. He didn't even get established properly yet. Drill was the foundation for those branches to grow. He needed more time to get those songs out there because I feel like he was going to make a major pivot, just like X. A lot of people don't know when it comes to X, he has about 2 Caribbean tracks, and he has a track with Vibes Cartel. X is Jamaican. He was leaning towards his Jamaican roots. And before he can even explore, he passed. Honey has 2 Caribbean songs, and I love both of them. One with Vibes and one with Tori on them. As a Caribbean myself, I love those tracks. Trust and believe me. But even X, he didn't have enough time to do more. Yeah, he was providing music for people that wanted the pain to go away. Same with Mac Miller. That's why their music still flies. Same with Juice. That music that helps the pain to go away, kind of, you know what I'm saying? That works. There's still a market for that. It's still very strong. But for pop, it's the flaw is the music, and that's drill. It's not hitting. I was listening to Welcome to the Party. We already know that song, but it wasn't hitting how it used to. But if I listen to Juice or X, Mac Miller, it still hit. Sucks, don't it? The artist will never see the money. That's a fact. A double back.
That was on the Title YouTube channel where I believe he talked to Joey Badass and Styles P. He had a conversation about this very thing and about art and the way that we call music art, but he's challenging that notion with this argument that is going to follow right here. Listen to this.
When you talk about music and you talk about art, when niggas try to put music and art in the same box, I just can't really fuck with it.
But music is art.
But we can say that.
It's an art form.
We can say it's an art form, but everybody gonna trade it in for commerce. Art.
That definitely right on that.
Art becomes commerce in the latter stages of it. People that make art create art. They give it to the art dealer. They give it to the art dealer, gives it to the art buyer, and in 10 years, it's gonna be worth $15 million.
I think, I get what you're saying.
But what I'm gonna say is, at the end of the day, can we really sit here and say it's art when everybody cool with they label selling shit to iTunes for $1.99? It's art, but we can't pick our own price.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Is that not the core of the DIY arguments we make all the time versus streaming? About how much control do we have?
And this is why indie artists will always have more power over anybody in the industry. Now, do they see the same kind of money as a lot of people in the industry? No. But one thing they cannot say is that they a puppet. When I look at Lil Russell, that boy good. That boy is all right. He is fine. He ain't got to worry about nothing except what his team doing. Now, when I look at any of these industry babies, oh, yeah, they cook. They cook. Yeah, you might got your money now, but you're going to be broke later. I'll tell you that much. Ice Spice. I'm teasing. But, yeah, that's how it goes. That's literally how it goes. And sorry, not sorry. That's what happens. You know? What can you do about it? This is what you signed. You signed the dotted line. You were supposed to read the papers that you have gotten, but you didn't feel like doing it that day, did you? Well, that's why you got lawyers. But oh wait, you don't got a lawyer by your side. That's crazy, ain't it? That's so insane. If you sit there and think about it, who really has more power this whole time? It's just because they don't necessarily have the popularity, the money, the glitz and glam, but you know, they good. But when I look over here, they might look rich, but these individuals are broke as hell. That's the reality behind it, bro. Yeah, you get money, but you don't get money like that. Let me take my percentage before we even continue this conversation.
Much independence do we have if we cannot independently determine whether or not a song is free or is for whatever amount we want it to be? When you think about a Mac Hami, even Mac Hami had issues on Bandcamp. When he started selling his albums, I think for like 1,000 or even 10,000, I forget what it was. I think it was 1,000. And he sold 11 of them and he made $11,000. Bandcamp held his money. Bandcamp held $11,000 of his money to double check for fraud. So even in that situation, even in that scenario, we did a video about it. You can go watch it. Even in that scenario, how much control do you have over your art? And then when you talk about the streaming platforms, you can't put up a song for free. It's not a thing you can put up for free. You can't put a song up there for more than $1.25 if I'm not mistaken. Last time I was on DistroKid, it's $1.25. You can't even put it up more than that. What if I think my song is worth $50? Why don't I have the freedom to do that? Well, this is what makes platforms like platforms like your website, even more important. So I love what he's saying, because what he's saying it's nothing about it that should be controversial. Like, if you're an artist and you truly do treat this as an art, you should have full autonomy over the way that your art is delivered and presented and priced.
It's art, but we create based on whatever niggas say. It's art, but we still making music videos, mixtapes, and albums. So at the end of the day, we can really talk about all this shit, but at the end of the day, everybody just gonna let niggas sit here, sign it down the line, get their check, and say, get your money, my nigga.
That's a fact.
So it's nigga, like you said, it become a hobby, it become a job, and it become what? So what I'm saying, we expect to have Basquiat's, we expect to have Andy Warhols, we expect to have Damien Hirst, all these other motherfuckers within our rappers, our producers, our directors, our people like that. We expect to have Cindy Sherman's with the way that, like, why is Miss Ellie not Cindy Sherman? When she put on the spacesuit, why Miss Ellie not in the mocha? When Cindy Sherman got whole exhibits at the Bro Museum based on her dressing up like shit. And Missy Elliott done that in 15 different videos. It's because at the end of the day, that shit worth millions, and our shit worth $1.99.
In other words, go and get yourself intelligent, go be knowledgeable, and don't sit there and wait for somebody to give you your paycheck. Round of applause for Hugo. Round of applause for Hugo. I love your comment. Ice Spice gonna try and get pregnant and be somebody baby mama. Y'all heard that controversy with Summer Walker and how she admitted that she wants to be somebody's side piece. Sitting there talking to Tory Bricks, and Tory Bricks fine. Tory Bricks is fine. She looks so good. Oh my God, here comes Summer Walker with that dirty tattoo on her chest talking about, girl, you gotta share him too. You are useless. Thank God I never listened to your album. You are useless. God damn. You really gonna sit there with your bold face on the internet talking through a damn voice note saying, oh girl, he been spending on me already. He been paid for my mortgage. He been bought me bags. Just shut up. Out here willing to be a side piece. This is what your life is. All the baby daddies, now you figure out, you know what? Shit, I'm a side character for the rest of my life. Where's your worth? Where's your self-worth? Goes back to this conversation. We're talking about the knowledge, the power, your self-worth, everything that comes with protecting your peace. It's ridiculous. But that's what happens when you don't know what you're getting into. You got to do your research. If this is something that you really want to do, if you really want to make music, you got to research the full landscape of the industry and learn how to navigate it, learn how to get through it, learn how to survive, learn how to thrive. If you cannot do that, If you cannot take the time, a couple hours, a couple days to do your research so you can walk into this knowing what to do, then that's you. That's you. You a puppet. Don't try and call yourself a boss when you got a boss.
Sheesh.
Niggas is focused on the wrong things. What I'm saying is, it's a million niggas that's photographers, but you can't tell a motherfucker that the nigga who take the picture that sit in the frame at Target is the same as the motherfucker that take the cover of the New York Times. We not gonna say that. But they don't even pay attention to them niggas. The problem is we paying too much attention to the motherfuckers who not really doing it. If you look at Retina and all these other motherfuckers that's doing all this high-end graffiti art and shit like that, you ask a real artist, not to sound fucked up, but niggas don't fuck with Retina that make art. You ask a real artist how they feel about him, they not even gonna know who you talking about. Murakami not paying attention to Retina.
There's a part 2 to this that I want to make sure we conclude with. It's only 39 seconds, but peep this out.
But what I'm saying is at the end of the day, like we talk about a Basquiat, a Da Vinci, all these niggas that niggas throw out in their songs, right? When you an artist, it's okay to die broke. These niggas can't go broke or die broke if you out here rapping. Or you a clown. We clowning you. A nigga sell, you know, 50,000 ounces, 5,000 ounces, and oh, he's a bum. But it's only one of these paintings a piece. We ain't never clown on nigga for only selling one painting or only being in one museum or only doing one movie, only doing 2 movies. We clown. It's like you said, it's not about the music. So what I'm saying is that was my Lloyd Banks point. Like his music.
Sheesh. He said a whole lot there. I think the thing that resonates with me the most in this is, you know, there is a bit of there's a big underappreciation for independent artists. I had a conversation where, I mean, this whole week, if you follow me on Twitter at Curtis King, you'll see I'm always consistently just speaking truth, bringing truth to light about independent artists, because I feel like when the conversations come up of the best albums of the year, it pains me that we're not immediately bringing up a Mick Jenkins who released 2 projects that could easily be somebody's best fucking albums in their catalog. Both of the albums that he released this year.
Because you already know why. You already know why. The indie artists ain't gonna get no love. And even if they are in the industry, do you not see the titans that are standing above him? That's the reality behind it. What's good, Ron? I love how me and Ron are on the same page. And Connor, you're absolutely right when it comes to pop. He was ready to change. He was ready to make that adjustment. So I'm already right there with you. So don't even worry. But yo, Ron, you be on the same page all the time. That is so funny, bro. She is a fine piece of butter. Tory Bricks, Lord have mercy.
Cheer type shit and in A Murder of Crows, incredible albums. Incredible songwriting, incredible lyricism, but because it wasn't presented to us on one of them name brand platforms, because we weren't bombarded with it through the different media outlets that we go to, because we weren't seeing it in that light, that conversation changes, and it's almost like people treat independent artists like the minor leagues. Yep. And then when you compare it by the sales, it's really easy to shit on an independent artist then, because then you could belittle them by saying, look, you only got this amount of Spotify listeners. When we're sitting up here talking about Spotify getting rid of 75 million AI songs and only having 120 million, around that amount to 130 million songs total. The whole game is rigged. If you don't believe it's rigged, go see all these AI artists that came up out of nowhere and became #1 on their charts. Tell me this game's not rigged. If you still don't believe it's rigged, I'd like to sell you something on Christmas from Santa Claus. I'd like to take you to a wrestling event and let you see something up close. It is a god-awful game. Somebody came to me and they were talking about how terrible of a position hip-hop is in if it's not selling in the mainstream. And I said, you sound like a record exec who doesn't have any kind of cultural knowledge, any kind of awareness. That's what you sound like. And I said, there's so many thriving artists independently. There are so many artists who found success in the mainstream that are finding it independently. And not to mention, we have to separate mainstream rap success. Rap is only one of the foundational pillars of hip hop. Rap is only one of the pillars of hip hop. Hip-hop culture has never left the underground. Rap did. It still exists within underground hip-hop culture, but rap did get into the mainstream. That was the one that they figured out how to monetize and how to take full advantage of in the major label systems. Now, as it's being deprioritized and moved to the side for whatever god-awful songs or genres they're trying to create after this with AI, rap is coming back exclusively, it feels at times, to hip-hop and back home in the underground. But you can't bring the same kind of reasoning that you used in conversations about mainstream rappers, because when you're in that ecosystem, you're arguing points that A&Rs and execs argue with each other over golf. As a fan, you're doing that. And you don't get to make none of the money that you clown on these artists for not making or for making. You don't get to enjoy in none of the sales that you're na boo boo. That's why your album only. You don't get to enjoy none of that. But you add in your mouth to the conversation. No. And that last point he said, nobody is going to sit up here and discredit a Van Gogh, a Basquiat, for only selling one of one piece of art. The exclusivity is what made it more valuable. Mm-hmm. The fact that you could only go see the Mona Lisa in one place in the whole earth. And you got to wait in line behind velvet ropes and stand in front of there, and you can't even touch it. You can just stand there and look at it and take pictures behind a glass display. This is the same kind of respect you need to be treating the artist music out here if you say that you love hip-hop. These are one of the last few true-to-life art forms that are built on the foundation of authenticity, that can return back to the underground and go find as many resources as necessary to not only continue to feed itself and to thrive and evolve, but there's going to come a time where that same mainstream system that pimped out rap Quickie is going to see something down here and pull it back into the conversation again. All I'm saying is, as the people have the access to it, you as a listener have power over this. If you love the music that you get from an artist, nobody's telling you to cancel your streaming platform. It's an amazing service for you. But go buy that artist's album. Go buy that artist's album. I bought Glass Malone's vinyl this last week, and I bought I Am Lyric from A Room Full of Mirrors. If I'm not doing that, then what do I have the right to tell you to go buy anything?
See, that's where you're going to lose people. Because when you start to tell people go and buy this, a lot of the time the consumer is not going to listen. Now, if you have fans, your fans are going to listen. I'm not saying like going to like it's like unanimous. It's like it's a strong maybe, but it's still likely. But if you're telling an average consumer this is why you should buy it, it's going to be hard to convince them. Because they're already conditioned to do this. And now you're trying to tell them to do this while they're conditioned to do this. So even though they're walking this way, they're looking at you like, are you good? While still walking this way. That's where you're going to lose a lot of people. That area of disconnection needs to be connected, but you got to find a unique way to build that bridge. And a lot of people don't understand that. The trick to this is all communication. It's just about how you're going to tell somebody this is what you should do. The reality is that you're still telling them you should do this, but you got to find it in a way where it resonates with the consumer over here. That's the average. While trying to push this product at the end of the day. Communication is also important when you are an artist. Not for your bars or not for how you rap or whatever, but how you talk. How you articulate yourself. Because ever since this battle, I see artists as like the upper echelon of individuals that just understand what it means and what it takes to be great. Like you have to move a certain way if you want to be great. And if you're not doing that, then you're simply just not great. And that's the dark reality of it, you know? It's tough. All right, let me go ahead and finish this video because we got more videos.
Especially from me. So, DIYers, that is what I am asking of you, especially as many of you who have followed this channel and understand when we say DIYers.
DIYers.
It's another word for independent artists, but that's what we're here for. DIYers. I love those points that Vince Staples had. You let me know what your thoughts on what he just shared.
DIY.
What can I say? And Connor, to your point, you can still purchase like MP3 files from the artist specifically. You don't need a streaming platform. If you want to buy a vinyl, if you want to buy a CD, a cassette, whatever, and you have said player to do it, that's you. Go ahead. Don't let me stop you. But if you're only on like a phone, if you only have like an MP3 device, for example, there's still files out there that you can purchase as a consumer. So you can add that to your phone. I have one DSP on my phone, and that's Spotify. But also at the same time, on my Android, I can download music from the internet and keep it separate from Spotify. Now, for certain people out there that know how to get music that's not on Spotify onto Spotify, you just simply go to settings and then you turn on your local files so that you can have those in there. But that's a whole other story for another day. My point is, you can still download music and have it on your phone that's outside of Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, just as examples. It's still possible to do. Just got to know how to do it. That's it. Like, you can literally like download videos from YouTube still. YouTube, the MP3 player or MP3 file. You can still do those downloads. I remember back in the day when I first found out I can do that. It was game over for a lot of these, Nick. I was playing songs nobody heard before. Everyone like, where did you get? I'm like, YouTube, Nick. Like, but that's what it is. That's what it used to be back in the day when he had LimeWire. God, thank God I ain't get no virus. But LimeWire days, when you go and download the song, you know, Soulja Boy, Kiss Me Through the Phone, or Soulja Girl, you know, Chris Brown and Jordan Sparks, No Air, you know, Omarion and Bow Wow, Let Me Hold You, you know. Y'all remember when it had like the bunch of underscores and dashes in that joint? That's how you knew you had that song for it. That's not just to stay on topic. That's what it is. That's what it was. And you can still do that to this day. You know? So it's just about understanding what you can do as a consumer. Understanding that you don't need a DSP to play this song because your phone should be allowed to play this song because your phone would have its own music file. A lot of people might have it. For example, on my Samsung, you have Samsung Music. Go to Samsung Music. For a lot of people, there probably no music in there. You can start putting music in there. There's ways to do this. Enough of me talking, but there's ways to do this. You know? So trust me. Hey, look, we're just getting started. We're just getting started, bro. We lock in. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. You can still buy the album on Apple Music, Spotify, etc. I started buying digital albums now instead of just streaming for free to show support. There you go. And yes, there is options to buy albums on the DSPs, but a lot of people don't use those features. Same thing with Apple Music. As long as you put it in your iCloud, that's how I have 616 in LA. There you go. But yeah, we just getting started, bro. Now, just like how we just listened to something that's just very profound and smart, let's listen to some dumb shit. Let's listen to some dumb shit, bro. Here we go. Let's talk about Juelz Santana, or Juelz Santana, I'm sorry. Apologize. All right, so we got another video. We're going to go ahead and lock in. Y'all know how we do this. Y'all know what time it is. You tapped in with your favorite Canadian reaction channel, getting to all that news, all that business, and all that mess. Hit that. Here we go. Juelz Santana done lost his dumbass mind. I got to cut that out. That's my fault. So, I don't usually tap in with the Breakfast Club, but when I see something that is really that dumb, I gotta say something. Now, I'm not gonna say the title of the video. I'm gonna save that for y'all to hear. But when I say this is the dumbest thing I ever heard in a while, damn, this boy's slow. Anyway, look, let's go ahead and get started. Let's lock in. Y'all know what time it is. Let's go. Yo, you, right here in the small box, right here in the small box. Welcome back to Flex Mob Reactions, only on the Flex Mob Network. I'm Flex. Welcome back to the channel. Jewels, boy, what are you doing? You are an example, and that's the kind of example you want to set for the kids. What a shame, what a shame, what a shame. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the video. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the reaction. Hit that notification bell so you get notified when I drop my videos or when I'm live, like right now. Don't forget to hype the video up, and let's listen to this. Wow, words are hard. Let's listen to this garbage. Let's go.
Now, LL Cool J, Lauren LaRosa, her born day was Saturday.
That's
so
right.
She's on an island somewhere.
She's on the beach right now. She
Yes.
says she's drunk right now on the beach and she's listening. So she sent me everything to do, all right? Now, she said, MV, third hour, start off with Joel Santana. Joel Santana says kids do not know how to read, or they don't need to know how to read.
We gotta start teaching our kids though just financial wealth and literacy and all that shit early, because by the time they get to 9th grade, they should be just learning how to start businesses and how to. But they don't really need to learn how to know how to read.
Wait, stop.
You know, when it comes to people like you don't deserve to be in front of a microphone. I'm just saying. They don't need to know how to read. Okay. Okay, how's your kids doing? How's your kid? Your kids can read. Can your kids read books? You stupid ass mother. You hear that again.
All that shit early, because by the time they get to 9th grade, they should be just learning how to start businesses and how to. But they don't really need to learn how to know how to read.
Wait, stop.
I say that respectfully. I'm not saying that in a way to be literate, because
putting respect or not on it is not gonna help you.
you're not supposed to be illiterate, but you can.
What's more important, reading or math?
Math. You can still obtain the information. And you don't have to know how to read. I believe common sense is better than everything. I'm a common sense. I'd rather have zero.
You gotta learn how to read to have some common sense. Shit!
Book smarts and common sense, be able to read the room, be able to read life, be able to read people. I try to understand people, understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, nowadays.
How you gonna read people if you can't read a sentence? This nigga.
You can listen to a book.
You gotta
can
read
listen.
your contract, Els.
You don't have to. You can listen to that too. They got apps you can put it in and it'll read it to you. Are you crazy?
All right, that's a lot to.
Hey, Jules. Yo, Jewels. How you gonna find the right app if you can't read the app? If you can't read the description of the app, how you gonna find the right app to take the contract, put it in the app, and then you gonna push this button for it to read it to you? How you gonna know if you can't read?
It's a lot to dissect here.
Where you want to start?
First of all, I
gotta know how to read.
I thought you gotta know how to read. I thought the convo was illiterate, and the reason I thought the convo was illiterate because they're conflating reading with knowing how to read. It's a difference. Meaning, I enjoy actually reading.
Right.
Like, I enjoy reading. I love reading books. I love reading comic books, and therefore, because I enjoy reading, I know how to read. It sounds like they were conflating reading with knowing.
Yo, Jewels, I got a question. Can you read, bruh? Yo, Jewels, can you read? Because if you can read, how dare you tell these kids, oh, no, you don't need to do it. You just need to read these numbers. How you going to read the numbers if you can't You know, let me stop.
To read. And you should know how to read.
Everybody should know how to read. Like, read contracts, read signs, read paperwork, absolutely positively.
But that's a part of it too, right? You can know how to read a contract. That don't mean you understand it. I can read a contract. You can give me a contract right now. I can read it, but that don't mean I understand it.
Correct.
Okay, and also it's a difference between math and financial literacy.
Yes.
Those are two completely different things. I know how to add, subtract, multiply and divide, but
right.
that don't mean you actually understand financial literacy. So it was a lot of different conversations going on in that conversation that lets me know all them niggas need to read more. That's what I took from that. I guess.
This man is really trying to rely on an app that's going to help him read. Knowing that you could read your... If you encounter a big word, Jewels, what do you do in that situation? Huh? Do you let ChatGPT read the word for you? Oh, the word is because? That's how you spell because? Damn. All right, continue. Bro, what are we doing? If you are driving on the road, don't you think you need to learn the rules of the road before you even step into said vehicle? There's a couple books you gotta read. Or there's a couple... How you gonna take a test if you can't read that We got kids in there, we can't cuss. We got kids in there, we can't cuss. Boy, you should be exiled from microphones. You should never be able to touch a microphone ever again. I don't care if you're a rap artist. You don't deserve it.
It was a lack of comprehension going on in that discussion just now.
All right, well, let's keep it moving. Nicki Minaj, she put out a text over the weekend. Did you see the text?
No.
Well, she put out a tweet that said, United Nations was a MAGA flex.
Oh, I did see that.
Trump on the text. Y'all should be afraid what I'm about to do next. Now, that's a play off of Jay-Z from On to the Next one where he says Obama on the text, y'all should be afraid of what I'm about to do next. Now, people got at her and say, leave Trump alone. You shouldn't be riding with Trump. And, they got at her, but she didn't respond to that. Childish Gambino, he talks about health issues. Did you know he had a stroke?
No, I had no idea.
He's doing this world tour. He's having lots of fun. I had a really bad pain in my head in Louisiana, and I did the show anyway. I couldn't really see well. So when we went to Houston, I went to the hospital, and the doctor was like, you had a stroke. And the first thing I thought was like, here I am still copying Jamie Foxx. That's really like the second thing. The first thing was like, I'm letting everybody down. I know it's not true, but I've broken my foot. I always promised Ireland I'm gonna be there, and I still haven't been. And they found a hole in my heart. So I had this surgery, and then I had to have another surgery. So they say everybody has 2 lives, and the second life starts when you realize you have one.
Why is he giving us health updates to a beat?
Well, he was performing actually at a show in L.A. And
really?
While
that was a show?
Yeah, while he was performing.
That was some good-ass audio from a show.
The guitarist was playing the guitars. He was talking to the crowd about what happened and what happened with him and the hole in his heart.
I would like to hear him go deeper on that conversation. Whenever I hear issues like that, because he's a young man. I know Chad was 42, 43, maybe?
If he's that old, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's definitely about 42, 43. But it's just like when I hear, conversations like that, I want to hear more because I just want to know what was going on with him health-wise, because I want to know what can I avoid if possible.
No, you're absolutely right. And the fact that he said he got a headache, which made him go to the hospital, which told him he had a stroke, that scares me. All right. And lastly, like I told you guys, Lauren LaRosa is out. She's on the beach right now. So she wrote this. So she said, Meg Thee Stallion's man, her baby. This is how she wrote it.
Klay Thompson?
Yeah. She said got into an argument with Jay Morant.
Ja Morant.
I said Ja Morant. How did I say Jay Morant?
I ain't got no time for all this mess. I was just here for Jewels. Read your damn books, okay? Be knowledgeable, study. It's important to take in literature every time to time. Read a book, okay? I'm talking to you, okay? You know who you are, okay? Read your books. All right, study. Pass the test. Make them grades. Okay? Talking to you. So do it. All right. That's my point. And y'all saw what Jay Tom said. How you gonna read your lyrics if you can't read? And you gonna sit there and talk about, financial literacy is the most important. How you gonna have financial literacy if you can't even read literature? Yeah, you should have graduated. They should have kept your ass till this age. Out here looking like a substitute teacher. Nah, you're a student. You are dumb. What? Are you serious? Let me stop. Let me stop. Because remember, these videos are strictly for entertainment purposes only. All right? It's just, God damn it, bro. Why would you go ahead and say something like that? Childish Gambino is 42. God damn. See, now I got to listen to Redbone even more now. Oh, excuse-moi. Read financial literacy for real. That was embarrassing to hear, especially coming from him. Cause you have somewhat of an influence, and now look at you out here moving scary. Yeah, I see you. Jesus, bro. See, it's just some dumb people out there that just don't deserve it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just don't deserve it, man. All right. I did say I had 6 videos, but as I realize, I don't think I want to stay here for every single video if I'm going to be super real. I feel like we might have another light news week. So the best thing for me to do is not go through all the videos. So we just did 2. I'm feeling maybe 2 more videos. Maybe. I'm thinking either 1 or 2 videos, but at that point, I'm going to see what's going to happen with the next video, and then we're going to call it. I kind of missed the days when I streamed for a long time, but I do notice not everybody can stay for a whole stream, so I feel like I shouldn't need to do that unless I'm doing like a 24-hour live. You know, I got to do one eventually. You know, one of these days I got to do another one. But that's pretty much like my point. I don't necessarily want to like force it knowing that I have another day. So I'm definitely going to do another video. That might be the last one, but we're going to see how it's going to go from here. Now, y'all want to talk about a social experiment? Rap album of the year debate. La Russell changed how I see indie rap, or this woman. The Sexy Red experiment has officially failed. Even Drake reads his lyrics. It's true. Helen Keller rhymes his it's deep though. Y'all are funny. Let's talk about the Sexy Red experiment. Y'all know what time it is. Oh, lordy, lordy, lord. Jitty got to win. All right, let me go ahead and hit this record button, bro. So apparently, the experiment named Sexy Red has turned out to be a failure. Damn. Who would have thought? Me. Hey, look. Let's go ahead and get started. Y'all do know I start this, right? So let's go ahead and make it happen. Yo, you, right here in the small box, right here in the small box. Welcome back to Flex Mob Reactions, only on the Flex Mob Network. I'm Flex. Welcome back to the channel. You thought you had it, but let me tell you something. When you walking around with rental money, I hate to break it to you. You got to give it back. You got to give it back, Sexy Red. Now you are an experiment that has failed. How sad. Look, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the video. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the reaction. Hit that notification bell so you get notified when I drop my videos or when I'm live, like right now. Don't forget the hype. Do they still do the hype button thing? Because, yo, I ain't gonna lie. I'm going right here, and I don't see no hype button at all. I'm not subscribed. Let me fix that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all heard what I said? Like, comment, share, subscribe. It's just like that. It's just like that. I'm just saying. It's that easy. It's that quick. Support is free. Just like what King Hammer said, right? Let's go ahead and get started.
Or has it? Let's talk about it. Sexy Red is a 27-year-old rapper from St. Louis, Missouri.
She's 27! Well, I mean, if you give me a picture like this, that makes sense.
Broke into the mainstream back in late 2023 after her song Pound Town went viral. After the success of that record, she later secured a remix with Nicki Minaj. And that same year, Drake featured her on his album. From there, it looked like nothing could stop Sexy Red. Her music was everywhere. She was trending nonstop. She became the new face of a certain kind of female rap energy, raw, unapologetic, and in your face. However, during her rise, we saw a lot of what I would call dysfunctional behavior. Something I actually dove into in my 30-minute documentary last year.
See, Tiny, there's levels to this experiment because it's not necessarily about the music. It's more about the consumer base and what can we make them think about, right? So with the Sexy Red experiment, the music was just mid as hell. But what it did to the ladies was the real experiment.
The dysfunction of Sexy Red. Among many things, we had situations like the teacher incident. Back in November 2023, a young ballet teacher went viral after expressing frustration about her
How are we going to cancel such a beautiful soul? And then y'all want to keep this? How are we going to do this to her? But we want to keep this. We going to disrespect her. But this what y'all want. Okay.
Back in November 2023, a young ballet teacher went viral after expressing frustration about her students singing along to one of Sexy Red's most explicit songs, which was, of course, Pound Town.
Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear Pound Town?
A normal reaction, especially coming from a woman who works with children every single day and understands what it's like growing up as a young girl herself. Now, she was simply pointing out the negative influence that songs like that could have on young kids. But instead of reflecting on something which was pretty fair criticism, Sexy Red brushed it off, replying, "Girl, shut the hell up and play my song." And that moment right there said a lot.
What did she say?
Replying, "Girl, shut the
Girl, play Pound Town. Ski. STFU. Wow.
hell up and play my song." And that moment right there said a lot, because the dysfunction wasn't in just what she said. It was in her complete inability to recognize her music, while profitable, is also inappropriate for the children who idolize her. And then when that teacher spoke up, she was ridiculed, while Sexy Red kept on climbing. Then there was the school visit. Just a few weeks after, Sexy Red made headlines again, and that time it was after reportedly getting kicked out of a school in her hometown of St. Louis for smelling like marijuana. She later reacted in a very angry way after the school actually turned her away and essentially told her, "Hey, you can't be here because you smell like Mary J." And Sexy Red was saying that she just wanted to speak to the kids.
So this school put me, I came up here, got you, try to talk to the kids, get them the word of the day, they gonna put me all on me. Tell me I smell like weed, watch this. My job hard. Every day I'm fighting for my life, every day. Try to put me out from this school, I'm coming back around.
And the question a lot of people had was, wait a second, why are you showing up to a school smelling like weed, regardless of if you were invited or not? And that kind of thing definitely made it clear that Sexy Red was very detached from basic accountability. Instead of leaving, she actually decided to turn up outside the school with a crowd of students.
St. Louis native known for her raunchy lyrics, making national headlines over a recent performance outside of a rally that was for kids. Well, national recording artist Sexy Red, whose name is Janae Wary, drawing criticism tonight over her behavior and performance after a student rally Wednesday at Shayfit. The organization involved telling First Alert 4 tonight she was never even invited,
despite being told not to be on the property. Obviously, that's the kind of thing any regular person would have faced real consequences for, but when you're famous, rich, and poppin', consequences don't always apply. Now, this pattern actually continued because after this came the 4C hair comments. Now, in a clip posted to Instagram, Sexy Red actually showed off her straightened hair, and she mocked women with 4C hair. For anyone who doesn't know what 4C hair is, it's essentially the natural hair type that most black women have. And Sexy Red, she posted this photo of herself and said, "You carpet hair beanie neck hoes could never." And then she obviously got backlash for this.
And I just hate the fact that we make fun of things that we cannot change. We cannot change hair texture. And it's sad because this is who's in the mainstream media talking like this, and a lot of people are growing.
Oh yeah, the experiment worked. I ain't gonna lie. Whatever experiment, that worked. It worked. It might have failed her. Her conducting the experiment or being the lab rat in this situation, you failed your job. Because you didn't even bother to try. But the experiment that you are to the masses, that definitely worked. how easy this one artist has changed the minds of so many men and women out there is quite astounding, just based off of just being not even her true unapologetic self, but she's just being unapologetic in general. There's nothing true about it because she already knows she's being used. And the way I see it, that she wants to be used. And what it brought about is pure chaos and destruction. It's tragic.
Growing up, having her as a role model for whatever reason, and they're going to start seeing carpet hair. It's already a search in TikTok is carpet hair. The hair texture that you have does not determine how beautiful you are. What your face looks like really doesn't determine how beautiful you are. It's your aura, it's your personality that determines how beautiful you are.
And then when that backlash came, she responded in a very distasteful way. And she said, I fuck with carpet hair, but would still call women that if they talked smack. Obviously not the smartest move because, you know, the majority of her fan base is actually made up of the same black women that she was...
Wait, there's new news? Oh,
shading. Lord. And also, it's like you're a black woman yourself and you have this hair type yourself naturally.
Yo, Connor, don't
just
do
because
that.
you strained that hair that one time, that doesn't really take away from the fact that you naturally have that hair type. You get what I'm saying? So that's the kind of thing that
Yo, Connor, don't forget I work security, and I hear these songs. It's not my fault. It's the conditioning.
It comes across as like, you know what they call it, internalized hatred. And this is what made it very ironic because Sexy Red's entire brand was always built on exaggerating the same negative stereotypes of black women that she herself insulted. But then we also have the viral tape. And in October 2023, Sexy Red accidentally posted a private tape on her Instagram story. I'm sure you probably know.
It wasn't accidental. That was planned.
What that private tape was, right?
Now, people said that you leaked your sex tape on purpose.
It was on Instagram, like a little short clip video. And then through the phone, and it got accidentally pressed like that.
She later claimed on an interview with The Breakfast Club that it wasn't intentional, but anyone with a functioning brain can tell that it was. The timing, the context, the way it boosted her visibility all point to this being part of the marketing strategy. Because remember, her biggest song, Pound Town, literally revolves around her body and sexuality, okay? So when the world suddenly gets visual evidence connected to those lyrics, what do you think happens? A viral storm. And this kind of thing is part of building a brand identity in today's industry. Not just for Red, but for any artist trying to connect their image to a specific idea or aesthetic. It's very profitable and it works. In this case, we have shock, scandal, and controversy being the core of that identity. And in this situation, none of it was an accident. It was all strategy. This is how an artist gets branded, sold, and introduced to the public by the record labels. And like a lot of us know, the more extreme the image is, the more attention it draws. And the more attention it draws, the more money it makes for the people behind the scenes. But here's the most worrying part about all of this. A huge portion of her audience is made up of children, specifically young black girls who look up to her, imitate her, and see her as a representation of what confidence looks like. And so when those same girls watch a public figure leak her own tape and then pretend it was an accident, it sends a dangerous message that attention is worth more than dignity. When it comes to being a public figure, no matter how you look at it, there is a level of responsibility that comes with that. With great power comes great responsibility. And it's not about being perfect 24/7 or operating like a role model every second of the day, but at least being conscious of how your actions land and who they actually speak to is very important. Now, in Sexy Red's case, I never expected that kind of responsibility from her, at least based on how she moved up until that point. But that's exactly the point here. The industry knew that.
If y'all saw the kind of things that I see in the club, you would want her exiled. I ain't gonna hold you. If you saw the kind of ish I've seen in these clubs, regardless if I go or if I work, you would want this woman exiled, if I'm gonna be honest with you. I've told y'all some of the stories that I've had to break up or witness in some of these places I work at. But my God, I haven't told y'all everything. Now, this ain't the time for tea, but I'm just letting you know. God almighty.
They knew she wasn't going to filter herself or self-correct or think about the impact that her negative actions are having on people, the world, and the youth. And in a way, that's what made her the perfect candidate for this experiment. Because before Sexy Red was handpicked, and listen to what I just said here, okay? Handpicked to be elevated to the spotlight, there's a very real process that happens behind the scenes. Personalities of this type don't just blow up by accident. Their image, their behavior, all of it is observed, analyzed, and measured by the people who decide who gets pushed and who doesn't. And this explains something a lot of people have wondered about for years, which is, why do so many public figures suddenly explode in popularity, yet seem to completely lack a moral compass? Why do the most chaotic, reckless, or controversial artists get the biggest push? That's not by accident.
It's a package. This experimentation has a strategy to it, and it's a package. It's not just her. You got to consider all aspects of entertainment and the similarities that you see throughout the different avenues in entertainment. Think about the TV shows. Think about the music videos. You know, something as simple as that. Now you look at the product that she pushed. What were the names of some of like the lip glosses that she had? I think she had a nail, what was it? One of them nail polish colors called Discharge. My Jesus. Like, it's just yo, it's a package. There's a pattern. The TV shows alone, when they sit down and watch Love and Hip Hop, they sit down and watch Baddies, they sit down and watch Love Island. All these TV shows, these reality TV shows. Bro, it's like we're back in like the 2010s again with these reality TV shows. Like we're watching Jersey Shore for the first time. Yo, all these shows packaged with this idea of what people like to see based on what they witness in the show storylines that are made up, mind you. And now you're pushing it all together at different times, but the key is to have the consumer see everything so that they can change. This is a nasty experiment because look what it did to the community. Jesus God. The levels of trickery is astounding.
How it works is this. Labels, investors, and media companies collectively look for what's profitable, not what's healthy, uplifting, or balanced. They look for personalities that can generate attention, even if that attention comes from dysfunction, because attention is currency. And someone who doesn't self-reflect or set boundaries is easier to brand, easier to manipulate, and easier to push into extreme directions. And during that evaluation process, a lot of questions get asked behind the scenes. Questions like who can push the public's buttons the most? Who can trigger the strongest reactions? Who will go the furthest without questioning the impact? That's why I felt like Sexy Red was being extra provocative during her blow-up period. It wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It was very planned. It was orchestrated in a way that maximized shock, maximized virality, and maximized profit. And despite all that dysfunction, it seemed like she just kept going up. Every controversy, every viral moment, instead of things slowing down, it almost felt like it was fueling her career even more. And my theory has always been that there's of course a reason for that. See, I personally think that Sexy Red was getting this push for one main reason, to promote a very specific image, a very negative one, because in a world where media has always shaped how we view people, especially black people, Sexy Red became a tool for the music industry to push a modern version of one of the oldest and most damaging stereotypes about black women. I'm talking about the Jezebel stereotype. Dating back to slavery, this stereotype painted black women as hypersexual, uncontrollable, and defined entirely by their bodies. It was a complete lie that was used to justify the exploitation and abuse of black women for generations, and somehow that same imagery is still being recycled today, just packaged with beats and marketing. And hip-hop has always been an art form to empower black voices. However, it has unfortunately been hijacked to do the opposite. And Sexy Red, whether she realizes or not, became the face of that. Her entire brand, her lyrics, her visuals, and even the way she's promoted, it all fed into that same narrative, that the only way a black woman can be seen, celebrated, or go viral is by being sexualized, loud, and reckless. And Red eventually became very successful. She's undoubtedly generated a whole lot of money for the music industry. And for a while, the experiment worked. But now things are starting to shift. A lot of you guys might have noticed how Sexy Red isn't being talked about nearly as much as before. And there's a few reasons for that. Now let's take it back. Take it way, way back to how it all started. Before Sexy Red took off, she was discovered by a Miami-based label and management company called Rebel Music back in 2021. They came across some of her early songs and decided to sign her. Her A&R executive stated that once she got off the plane and I heard her voice, I knew she was a star. Fast forward to mid-2023, the peak of her blow-up, and Gamma, a new media company, stepped in to handle her distribution. Now let's talk a little bit about Gamma, because this was the company behind her true rise. Now this company was founded by a Larry Jackson.
I'm listening.
Some of you guys in the music industry might know who this is. He actually spent 7 years as Apple Music's global creative director before leaving in 2022 to start Gamma, a company that claims to create, distribute, and market content focused on Black culture. And according to Larry Jackson himself, that focus on Black culture isn't just a slogan, it's the entire pitch. Because when Gamma was launched, it wasn't some small experimental startup. They actually came out the gate backed by $1 billion in financing. And the question is, where did they get that money from? We'll get to that in a second. And this money was apparently being put to work, particularly and acutely, on Black culture. So $1 billion dedicated specifically to Black culture. Interesting. Now, Larry Jackson is a very much recognized name in the music industry. Most people, whether it's managers, artists, or anyone else who actually works in the music industry, most times they know who he is, right? Billboard even named Larry Jackson the R&B and hip-hop executive of the year. They described him as someone who's able to bring things to life, with artists like Travis Scott praising the way he moves. So he's been getting a lot of cosigns from a lot of very prominent artists as well. And one of the first big moves the company Gamma that he started made was facilitating a deal where TikTok's 1 billion plus users got exclusive access to the entire Death Row catalog, which included Snoop Dogg's classic Doggy Style album and the late Tupac's All Eyes on Me as well. Now right here, Larry Jackson demonstrated exactly the kind of pull he and his company Gamma actually has and what it's apparently built to do. Use massive capital, massive access, and massive cultural leverage to shape what the general public, but especially Black audiences, consume and how they consume it. Now when you understand that, Sexy Red's rise starts looking a lot less organic and a lot more like a calculated extension of that mission. Now alongside Larry Jackson, we also have Ike Yusuf, Gamma's president. Now Ike previously worked at Interscope Records as a CFO, Chief Financial Officer, and he holds degrees in business, economics, and accounting. So his background is strictly corporate, not creative. Together, these two essentially built Gamma to be a hybrid between a label and a media powerhouse. And Sexy Red quickly became one of their biggest test cases, the face of a very calculated experiment that combined viral marketing, controversy, and cultural packaging under the banner of representation. But here's where things get interesting. The largest investor in Gamma isn't someone from the culture at all. It's Todd Boehly, a 52-year-old American.
Yep, it'd be your own people. It'd be your own people. Oh my goodness. What's good, Jordan? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome back. Good to see you again. It'd be your own people, bruh. So, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no. This is terrible. The face alone with Larry June. And then throw in Yusuf, and then this man right here. You got a trifecta of just evil. But it's smart. Damn, it's smart. It's smart.
Gamma isn't someone from the culture at all. It's Todd Boehly, a 52-year-old American businessman of German heritage.
What's good,
worth
Slay?
Over $8 billion. So now it actually starts to make sense where they got that initial billion from, right? So the main investor behind a company that claims to focus on Black culture is a white billionaire who also happens to co-own Los Angeles Dodgers and Chelsea Football Club. And, that's kind of where the dots start to connect. Because one of the biggest questions people had when Sexy Red started popping up everywhere was how? Like, how is all this possible? How does someone with that kind of image suddenly get this massive push from every direction? Well, now it should make sense to you. When you realize that the machine behind Sexy Red included a billionaire investor worth nearly $9 billion, a major media company with deep Apple Music ties.
So with her, okay. Now my brain is going somewhere now because first, the dude that co-owns LA Dodgers and the Chelsea Football Club had $8 billion to spare, and then Gamma, the media company slash we'll just say any media company for now, they have $1 billion to spare, and their first artist that they went and got was Sexy Red. In my mind, I'm thinking now, and remember when I talk about how certain friendships in the industry are contractual with a payment a lot of the times? So when you see Sexy Red around Drake a lot, was that a payment? Was that an exchange? You come here, you help me, you promote me, you do music with me, and I'll pay you this. Is that how it went down? Because in my mind, I don't understand why Drake is beside Sexy Red. I can't figure it out through the life of me. Why is he, knowing what he can do by himself, besides somebody like this, knowing that y'all have nothing in common? Was that a payment involved? Just like the same thing when I talk about Aubrey and Aiden. When you see them together, they're getting money together. That's why you see them together, right? So my mind is saying there is a payment in that friendship for that to come about. Of course you're going to be friends with somebody that pays you 6 figures or 7 figures just for you to be around them. Of course you're going to be friendly. I'm starting to understand it now. I'm not going to lie.
And a label infrastructure designed to amplify controversy, it starts painting a very clear picture. And this is something Candace Owens actually spoke about some time back as well.
Gamma has a lot of power.
There you go, J-Tom.
I'll tell you why Gamma has a lot of power. Because the 2 individuals that started Gamma, one of them came out of Apple. His name is Larry Jackson. And the second one of them came from Interscope Records. He has a ton of clout in the record community, the music community industry, so to speak. And his name is Ike Youssef. Larry Jackson, who I mentioned before, is black. And he is the person that I am more interested in.
For anyone who doesn't recognize the face or name, Candace Owens is an American political commentator and author, and a self-labeled conservative activist. Now, she's covered a lot of these same connections, pointing out how the entertainment industry profits off of promoting chaos, dysfunction, and over-sexualization, especially when it comes to black artists. Now, interestingly enough, this connects...
Boy, put that candle down before you burn yourself.
This is something rapper Ice Cube talked about on Bill Maher's podcast. Ice Cube spoke about the same kind of manipulation, which is what he called social engineering, where record labels act like gatekeepers. And he said that they essentially don't tell artists exactly what to say, but they make sure that the most destructive messages are the ones that get pushed.
See, Tiny, that's where my mind is going, because that's what it looks like. Because it literally doesn't make sense to see them both together. But if there was some sort of payment, contractual agreement involved, then it starts to make sense. Like, yo, just out of the blue, oh, this my new best friend, her name's Sexy Red, like, you know, she my girly girl for real, like, you know, she been one of them ones for me, she been holding me down and all this behind the scenes. Y'all just started being friends. And you come to one of the greatest actors in the world to continue and show that world that y'all really friends for real by taking some weird old pictures. Yeah, that's nonsense. Drake got paid. That's a paid friendship. You got to rent a homie. Rent a homie. Speed dial. 1-800 rent this nigga.
The top.
The records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't.
And this is an idea we've explored conversationally over time, so it's nothing new, right? Now, Ice Cube was essentially saying, if you follow the money, you'll start noticing how the same people who own major record labels also have ownership stakes in private prisons. Now, that's another conversation I'll explore in depth in another video. Whether you believe what Ice Cube said or not, the underlying message underneath is very clear. The industry profits off of chaos, dysfunction, and division. And when you look at what gets the biggest push, the artists who glorify violence, crime, or hypersexuality.
Well, Tiny, we don't know that information yet, so we can't say that. But it's looking a little shaky right now. When I see you stand by Sexy Red, I believe you see two bad bitches. Hey, they getting money together though. When you see Aubrey and you see Red together, they getting money together. You know, so when I see you stand by Sexy Red, I believe you see two bad bitches. I believe you don't like women. This real competition. You might pop ass with them, man. Well,
starts to make a lot of sense, right? And this is how a lot of these experiments start. Now, for Sexy Red, I think they decided to push the boundaries even further, especially when it comes to the raunchiness and shock value. Because here's the thing. We live in a time where, let's just say that people are extremely desensitized in all types of ways. Nothing surprises anyone anymore. So to grab everybody's attention, like to grab the attention of the public, you almost have to go to the extreme. You have to be louder, you have to be wilder, you have to be more provocative than the last person, or you'll get drowned out in the noise. And Sexy Red became the perfect vessel for that strategy. Because one thing about the public is that we react to extremes.
Demon tail?
If you show us something that feels outrageous.
Was that a demon tail as a whip? Oh no, she gotta go.
Outrageous, controversial, or wild enough, it grabs our attention instantly. And in an experiment where attention equals profit, the industry keeps testing how far they can go. They take these sample sizes of artists, amplify the most polarizing ones, and study what happens next. How people react, how the internet responds, how the controversy spreads. If it goes viral, they double down on that formula. If it doesn't, they move on to the next artist. That's exactly what...
Man, they got wigs like Power Ranger colors. Like, God, just wear your real hair. Jesus. Man said it's Drake a yacht girl. That's crazy.
We've seen happen in this case right here. Sexy Red was a test subject for how far they could stretch the public's tolerance. For dysfunction, for explicitness, for chaos.
Yo, what kind of lemon mango flavor kind of wig is that? What the hell?
All while disguising it as authenticity.
What was the
point? Now, what's happening right now with Sexy Red, though, because she's obviously not getting the same marketing push that she was. Before we even get to Sexy Red, we got to look at what's been happening in rap overall. Now, a few days ago, we talked about that Billboard report, the one showing that for the first time since the 90s, there wasn't a single rap song in the Hot 100's top 40. Rap's market share has been slipping for years. This is something a lot of people know, right? Labels aren't investing in hip-hop like they used to, and a lot of the newer sounds just aren't connecting with the public anymore. Meanwhile, country, Latin, Afrobeats, and pop are dominating. So the industry has shifted towards safe artists with guaranteed returns, meaning the machine has been, pulling back on rappers across the board, not just Sexy Red. Now for Sexy Red, she's undoubtedly an artist who's fueled by antics, and an artist in that category usually gets a huge marketing push during that initial discovery phase where the label throws everything at them to create momentum, and it works at first. It always does. But later on, things start to slow down because antics have an expiration date. That's just how it is. There's also a growing level of fatigue towards these characters who get pushed nonstop, not just in the music industry, but just in social media in general. And the reason for this fatigue, in my opinion, is because people today are way more conscious, way more self-aware, way more spiritually tuned in than they were in the past. Because here's the thing, I'm sure you know this, right? We're living in a time where there's so many things that are attacking our attention, our energy, and our peace. So people can feel when something is forced and when something is spiritually empty. Sexy Red went through that period where she was being prioritized, where the machine was fully behind her, pushing her into every corner of the culture and industry, but things are a little different now. Just a year and some change later, that momentum isn't the same. The push isn't the same, and the public isn't reacting the same way they did before. And once the intensity of the reactions start to fade, what incentive does the industry have to keep pushing you and investing all this money into you? None. And there's also something to be said about the demographic that Sexy Red was being marketed towards, which was primarily black women. And based on the responses I've seen online, a lot of, those same women who were initially hyped about her are starting to wake up to what's really going on. Not in a judgmental way, but in a self-awareness kind of way. Because once something
shout out Kendrick
reaches a certain level of exaggeration or dysfunction or straight up cartoonish behavior, people eventually recognize it for what it is. Now, personally, I think that all those black women should have realized, you know, when she made those 4C hair comments, that's what we call internalized hatred, okay? And so I think that should have been the moment where they woke up and they realized, like, damn, she's straight up mocking herself and she's mocking us, right? Now, on top of that, we also know that Sexy Red's rise was built almost entirely on hype. And when something is built on hype, it fades the moment people take a step back and actually look at what they're consuming. When you change the way you look at things, the things you're looking at actually start to change. And that's kind of when people start to see through the hype and the facade. And I think that's what happened with Sexy Red. I also don't think that people are as quick to play this kind of music around their children anymore, especially after everything, you know, people have seen from Sexy Red, but also too considering everything that's happening in the world right now. Because the truth is, there's a lot of forces operating through social media today, pushing certain ideas, certain behaviors, and planting certain messages in the minds of the youth.
I ain't gonna lie, she kind of look like DC Young Fly in this photo. Where that?
Pushing certain.
Look at DC. Looking like DC Young Fly for real. What the hell?
Ideas, certain behaviors, and planting certain messages in the minds of the youth. Not in some kind of like conspiracy way, but I'm saying in a very algorithm / attention type of way. The stuff that spreads the fastest is usually the stuff that's loudest, wildest, and most chaotic, and most dysfunctional. And when that becomes the dominant influence in certain spaces, parents and young people themselves start paying attention. And once you recognize the pattern, once you see the intention behind the marketing, you start realizing this isn't something you want influencing the next generation. And that shift right there matters. Because when the core audience becomes more intentional, more protective, and more aware, the entire foundation of that experiment starts to fall apart. Now look, I think Sexy Red is going to continue being successful to some extent because she's got a fan base, she's got visibility, and she's built a name for herself. But at this point, it's obvious that the experiment isn't hitting the way it used to. But what the hell do I know? You tell me. Has the experiment failed or not? If you made it this far, drop a like on this video. Clearly,
that's an insult to DC. Don't kill me.
You obviously enjoyed this video, okay? I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say about this entire conversation around Sexy Red. You guys let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace. I'm out.
Jesus God, bro. Look, man, this is crazy. Who the hell?
What is good, y'all?
Welcome back to who is you? Who is you? I didn't click on it. Whoa.
Kendrick Lamar.
Whoa. We got a mind. Yo, this video got a mind of its own. I did not click on you. The hell? Damn. Drake might be a yacht girl. Because that's got to be a paid friendship. It's got to be a paid friendship. Every time I see her around him, she got a handful of money. Now, is she taking that home or is that a pass off? Like, you know what I'm saying? A little handoff kind of situation. Usually they got suitcases for that, but I guess they don't want to go down the route no more. Now, when you look into the behind the scenes with Larry Jackson and what was his name? Ike Yusuf. And then you have that great, big, wonderful investor come in and give them $1 billion for their startup, Gamma. And then you see, maybe that's really her money. Well, depending on what kind of deal she got. But as the first artist that they got, they might be generous with her, which is why you see her with money all the time. Maybe also that's the reason why you see Drake around her all the time because, I mean, there's some sort of payment. Damn, like, yo, the way that we be figuring things out is kind of insane. I need to watch that video again for sure. That's all I know for a fact. Because I want to explore that a little more. But from what we've taken away from that, hey, I ain't gonna lie, that was good. I ain't gonna lie, that was real good. That's Marcus at work. Ike Turner, no, Ike Yusuf, man. They doing business with the not Turner, bro. Yo, that is hilarious. Let me go ahead and read this real quick. I look at it now, and it's not far off. I mean, all the underage girls, all the terrible. Oh, that's crazy. Sexy Red's fan base is a lot of younger or underage girls. And then throw Aubrey into the... I gotta stop. I can't continue that. I can't continue that for this video. We got to take that to either Discord or we got to put that into the members only. We can't. We're not doing that. No, that's dangerous. He's had Drake being in the industry young, may have been a victim and hurt people. Yo, damn. Yo, is Neighborhood here? Is everybody's favorite therapist here? Because, yo, Ron be spitting. Oh, my gosh. He's being used as a treat is crazy. That's that on screen. That's not him. Oh, my goodness. That's Mark. I don't even know what y'all talking about at this point. All I gotta say to kind of like summarize and to wrap it up is like, you also gotta be careful with who you like in the industry, because you never know who's there to play you. That's one thing a lot of people don't consider when they're looking at their artists that they care about or love. But at the same time, when you have impressionable minds, just look at something flashy and shiny and say, oh, wow. Well, what more can you do at that point, you know? It's a little scary, and it takes a little bit of knowledge to understand what's going on around you, but that's what it takes now. A lot of people just don't know what's going on in front of them, and it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad to see, because a lot of us see the play. But we need more people to see the play than usual so that we can make certain changes and make adjustments to make everything better. But who knows what's going to happen, bro. The rabbit hole is deep, son. I don't disagree, my boy. But yeah, nah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yo, shout out to dude for the video, though. This was a good video. Blackie Speaks. I ain't gonna lie. You got to change your name. That's a crazy name. Jiddy ain't playing me or nobody else. Now, you good with Jid. But you got to be careful of, like, the certain influences out there. Sexy Red has a stronger influence than Jid. That's the reality. Look at the people that flocks to her, even though they don't want to buy a ticket to her shows. Let me stop, because I feel like I'm going to cook y'all to death. Hey, look. Like I said, that was a good video. All right, it's coming up to 2 hours right now. I think I'm going to call it here, because I don't want to burn myself out or burn you guys out with all this information, because it's a lot. Every now and then, I got to consider having fun on this stream as well, not take it too seriously. I want to make sure I have the jokes and all that jazz for y'all. Maybe I got to find some reels of like some comedy skits. A little something to watch before we get into something serious, so we got a good laugh before we get into all the mess. Maybe I should start doing that. Hey, you never know. It might work. It might work for real. But I'm going to charge you here. I'm going to end it off here. We did good today, you know. About what, 2 hours? Yeah, about 2 hours. Yeah, about 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's pretty good. So at this point, we're going to charge you here. I'm going to end it. I could go for more videos, but I want to just stop here because I don't want to force it or rush it, knowing that we have another day. So, yep, you see what Connor said. Good night. Take care. Y'all know the spiel already. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Thank you for stopping by. Like always, y'all tapped in with your favorite Canadian reaction channel out here. Come on, you know the vibe already. You already know the path that I'm on, what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to build. It all matters. As long as I keep continuing to do this thing that I do here, shoot, it's going to work out somehow. You know what I'm saying? But for right now, let's go ahead and end it, bro. This game, Def Jam UMB, this is all alleged. Remember, this is all strictly for entertainment purposes only. Never forget that, all right? We here at the Flex of My Network are comedians and do not wish to defame anyone. Nigga, we was just playing. Hey, y'all know what it is already, bro. P.P. Johnson. Yo, Tiff, stop reminding me of that. That kills me. I swear to you. P.P. Johnson. Y'all know what it is already, bro. Take care. Be well. Be safe. Oh, my God. Yo, stay true. Be you. Live long and long live, y'all. Take care. Oh, my God. How dare you do that to me? Jesus.